If you don't like history but still love a good story, then this one's for you. Ancient Egypt, a land of mystique and grandeur, has always fascinated us with its monumental pyramids, enigmatic mummies, and the sheer opulence of its civilization. But beneath this veneer of splendor lies a darker, more sinister aspect of ancient Egyptian society, its justice system. Today we delve into the dark side of ancient Egyptian justice, a world where the scales of justice were often tipped by the weight of brutal and unforgiving punishments. Ancient Egypt wasn't just about pyramids and mummies. Let's uncover their jaw-dropping punishments. The ancient Egyptians had a complex legal system that was deeply intertwined with their religious beliefs. The concept of Ma'at, representing truth, balance, and cosmic order, was central to their justice system. Any crime was seen as a disruption of Ma'at and had to be rectified to restore harmony. This often meant severe and sometimes gruesome punishments for the offenders. When we think of ancient Egypt, we picture grand pyramids, powerful pharaohs, and dazzling treasures. These images, while captivating, only tell part of the story. The grandeur of ancient Egypt was built on a foundation of strict laws and harsh penalties. The pharaohs, considered divine rulers, wielded absolute power, and their decrees were law. The legal system was designed to maintain order and protect the state, often at the expense of individual rights. But behind the glitter and glory was a world of harsh laws and terrifying punishments. The ancient Egyptians believed that justice was essential for the stability of their society. They had a well-defined legal code, and punishments were meted out swiftly and decisively. The severity of the punishment often depended on the social status of the offender and the nature of the crime. Let's explore some of the most shocking and brutal punishments that were part of ancient Egyptian justice. First up, theft. Stealing wasn't just frowned upon, it was met with brutal consequences. Theft was considered a serious crime in ancient Egypt, and the punishments were designed to serve as a deterrent. The ancient Egyptians believed that stealing disrupted the social order and offended the gods. As a result, thieves faced severe penalties, including mutilation and forced labor. Caught with sticky fingers, you might lose a hand or face lifelong labor. The punishment for theft often involved the amputation of the hand, symbolizing the loss of the offending limb that committed the crime. In some cases, thieves were sentenced to hard labor, working on state projects such as the construction of temples and pyramids. This was not only a punishment, but also a way to utilize the labor of criminals for the benefit of the state. Next, lying under oath. In a society that revered honesty, perjury disrupted the cosmic order. The ancient Egyptians placed a high value on truth and honesty, and lying under oath was considered a grave offense. The concept of Ma'at, which represented truth and justice, was central to their legal system. Perjury was seen as a direct violation of Ma'at and was punished accordingly. Caught lying, you could lose your tongue, forever silenced for one falsehood. The punishment for perjury was often the removal of the tongue, rendering the offender unable to speak. This was a symbolic act, as the tongue was the instrument of the lie. By removing it, the ancient Egyptians believed they were restoring balance and order to society. Scribes, the keepers of records, weren't spared either. A mistake could lead to public humiliation or hard labor, a heavy fall from grace. Scribes held a prestigious position in ancient Egyptian society, as they were responsible for maintaining records and documenting important events. However, with great power came great responsibility. Any errors or falsifications in their work were met with severe punishments, including public shaming and hard labor. This was to ensure the accuracy and integrity of the records, which were crucial for the administration of the state. Betraying the pharaoh? The ultimate offense. Imagine being thrown into the Nile alive as the river's sacred waters cleansed the impurity of your betrayal. Betraying the pharaoh was considered the highest form of treason, as the pharaoh was seen as a living god. The punishment for such an offense was often death, and one of the most feared methods was being thrown into the Nile River. The Nile was considered sacred, and it was believed that its waters would cleanse the impurity of the traitor's soul. This punishment was not only a form of execution, but also a symbolic act of purification. Everyday laborers faced severe whippings for slacking off. Overseers didn't hold back, especially on pharaohs' projects. The construction of monumental structures such as pyramids and temples required a massive workforce, and laborers were often subjected to harsh conditions. Overseers were tasked with ensuring that the work was completed on time, and they did not hesitate to use whips to enforce discipline. Slacking off or failing to meet the required standards could result in severe beatings, which served as a deterrent to others. Accused of witchcraft, trial and execution awaited with little chance of defense. Magic was a dark force that could destabilize society. The ancient Egyptians believed in the power of magic and the supernatural, and accusations of witchcraft were taken very seriously. Those accused of practicing dark magic faced trials that were often biased and lacked proper defense. If found guilty, the punishment was usually execution, as it was believed that the presence of witches could destabilize society and bring harm to the community. Public drunkenness, a hefty fine or public shame awaited those who lost control in public. Discipline was key in their society. Public drunkenness was frowned upon in ancient Egyptian society, as it was seen as a lack of self-control and discipline. Those caught in a state of inebriation in public places faced hefty fines or public shaming. This was to maintain order and ensure that individuals adhered to the societal norms and values. Tomb robbing, one of the worst crimes. Robbers faced death or forced labor, preceded by public humiliation to deter others. Tomb robbing was considered one of the most heinous crimes in ancient Egypt, as it involved the desecration of the dead and the violation of sacred spaces. The punishment for tomb robbing was severe, often resulting in death or forced labor. Before the final punishment, the offenders were subjected to public humiliation to serve as a warning to others. This was to protect the sanctity of the tombs and ensure that the deceased were honored and respected. These punishments, harsh by today's standards, were integral to maintaining order and protecting society from chaos. The ancient Egyptians believed that strict laws and severe punishments were necessary to maintain order and stability in their society. While these punishments may seem brutal by modern standards, they were seen as essential for upholding the principles of Ma'at and ensuring the well-being of the state. Ancient Egypt wasn't just about grandeur, it was about survival. The harsh justice system of ancient Egypt was a reflection of the society's need to survive and thrive in a challenging environment. The strict enforcement of laws and the severe punishments for offenders were seen as necessary measures to protect the community and maintain the delicate balance of Ma'at. As we marvel at the achievements of ancient Egypt, it is important to remember the darker aspects of their civilization and the price that was paid to maintain their grandeur.